everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm here, yes, doing the unforethinkable, foreseen, foreknowledgeable, and unpredictable, reading ZADR fanfictions. This one was recommended to me quite a while ago, and I don't want to say I forgot, just kind of, but we're here now. It's called Frineds by Chloe the Brotato, and it's actually quite long. It's about 16 chapters, and I'm planning on doing maybe 2 or 3 per video, so we don't have a bajillion, episodes on this. It says it's ongoing. I'm not sure if that's correct. We'll see when we get to the end. I hope it is not. I hope it has a solid ending, because I don't want to kind of hold it up in the air again, The description says, after Enter the Florpus, Zim no longer has any reason to take over Earth. The tallest won't answer his calls, and he knows that they're not coming to Earth. Since he's stuck there, he decides to spend his time with Dib, but they start to become more than friends. Might have smut if I feel like writing it, so we'll see how that goes. Definitely, if there is smut, I will put it at the beginning of the video to give all of you a fair warning. I'm really excited to have a real project again. I feel like over the last little bit I've just been hovering around, and I'm excited to get neck deep into something again. I really like reading to you guys. I remember my other videos, anyways, I'm just gonna keep rambling, but you're here for fan fiction and not rambles. I intend on keeping the editing I intend on keeping quite a raw-esque take or approach when it comes to my reading. I feel like I'm going to add a lot of, sounds and special effects to fit what the scene is, but if I stutter or I can't get a sentence right the first time, I doubt I'm going to take it out, because I don't know, I feel like it deepens our bond. So we'll see how it goes. I might just play it by ear, but yeah. So let's get into this. Friends, ZADR, Chapter 1. Zim taps his pencil on the desk, staring at the clock. The other kids around him talking quietly as Miss Butters towers over him. Dib, however, was watching Zim's every move. He didn't realize how badly he was staring until the kid behind him called him gay and threw a pencil at his big head. Dib snaps out of his trance and picks up the pencil thrown at him. Free pencil, he thinks, ignoring the insult. The bell rings and everyone but Zim shoots out of the classroom. Dib gathers his stuff and starts to walk out when he sees Zim just standing there, just staring at the clock. Hey, space boy! Dib snaps his fingers to get Zim's attention. Zim jumps slightly and scowls at Dib. What do you want, human? Zim shouts as he gets up. Zim is acting a bit strange. Are you okay? Dib asks. Zim might be his enemy, but he still cares for him. Only a little. Zim is fine. Zim looks at the ground, then angrily walks out of the classroom. Dib decides to follow Zim home. He had the feeling Zim was up to something. Dib sneaks behind Zim, trying his best to hide behind the trees or the alleyways of the people's homes. Zim knows that Dib is following him. He does it pretty much every day. He decides not to acknowledge him. Zim opens the doors to his home. His robot parents spring up. Welcome home, they start to greet before Zim tears them from the ground and throws them into his lawn. Zim stares at them, then takes off his disguise and tosses them away. "Gur!" Zim orders his robot to him. Gur hops in, holding a candy bowl full of Smarties and Jolly Ranchers. "Yes, master," Jim chimes. Jim? Jim. Jim. Gur chimes. Where the fuck did I get Jim from? He smiles in a way that looks like the Smarties are his teeth. "Since the tallists won't answer my calls, and because they're not coming, I need a new plan," Zim states. Zim starts taking a single piece of candy from the bowl Gur is holding. Any ideas? Gur shoves a chunk of candy into his mouth, wrapper included. He gets an idea and squeals with excitement. "We should be friends with everyone! But most importantly, squirrels!" Gur smiles at his brilliant plan. Zim takes a deep breath in to yell at the small robot, but stops when he hears the whimpering screams of Dib falling from his roof. He rushes outside to find Dib laying below his window, holding his left arm, silently wincing in pain. "Dib Stink, what are you doing here?" Zim yells. Dib looks up at the alien with tears in his eyes. He wipes away his tears and points at Zim. I'm gonna stop you, Zim!" He tries to move his left arm, but a jolt of pain shoots through it. He groans and looks at his arm. It's definitely broken. He lets out a defeated sigh and gets up. "What's the matter, Dib? Am I too powerful to be stopped?" Zim laughs. But Dib rolls his eyes and sits up. "I think it just broke my arm. I'm gonna go home, Zim. I'm lucky my dad is a scientist. He has something that can heal me fast." Dib turns to the street and starts to walk off. Zim watches him when he remembers what Gur said. Oh, wait, never mind, he forgot. Zim walks back to his house and sits on the couch. Gur, who had changed into his dog costume, sits next to him holding the empty candy bowl with Minnie Moose in it. Dib limps his way back to the house. He enters and goes to find his dad. "Dad!" he yells, walking towards his dad's room. Clembrain and Membrane both poke their heads out of the room. "What is it, son?" Membrane asks. "I broke my arm again." Dib looks at the ground. Clembrain gasps and picks Dib up, pulling him into a hug. "It's okay. I'll put the healing pudding on it." Oh my, wow. "It's okay. I'll put the healing pudding on it." Clembrain hands Dib to Membrane and rushes off to the kitchen. "Let me guess, you fell off your friend's roof again?" Membrane asks, setting Dib down and walking to his lab. "Yeah, he's not my friend," Dib replies. Membrane shakes his head and hands Dib a cup with a blue substance in it. Dib's face scrunches up as he plugs his nose and downs the whole thing. He sets the now empty cup on the desk beside him. Membrane then fixes his bone and puts a splint on it. You have to be more careful when playing this game with... What was it? Membrane finishes wrapping Dib's arm and taps his chin. Zim. And it's not a game, Dad. He's an alien trying to take over the Earth, and I'm the only one who can stop him. Dib hops off the chair he was sitting in and does a dramatic pose to the best of his ability. Membrane shakes his head and puts everything he got away. Clembrain bursts into the room holding a bowl of pudding. He hands the bowl to Dib. Clembrain has gotten really good at making pudding. It's actually edible now. Dib eats a few spoonfuls, then hands the bowl back to Clembrain. "Thanks, Dad. I feel better. Bye." Dib turns away from his dad's and makes his way to his room. He was starting to get annoyed by his dad's ignorance. Zim was up to something, and he had to stop him. He loads up the camera's footage and watches this live. Zim is sitting on the couch, playing with Pack's legs. Dib watches, waiting for something to happen. An hour pass, and Zim has done nothing but lay there and watch TV. I made cake! Gur bounces on top of the Urkin and shoves a piece of cake into his mouth. Zim leans away from Gur and takes part of the cake out of his mouth. I know, Gur. You know, Gur, I thought about what you said earlier, Zim starts. About the monkeys? Gur asks with a mouthful of cake. No, not about... no. About being friends with everyone. I've decided to give it a try. Zim takes a bite of cake. Dim stares at awe. Zim? Wanting to be friends? Something must be wrong. Zim would never want to be friends with anyone. He scoots closer to the screen. He's practically touching it. He must be missing something. And then, his door bursts open. Dib jumps and falls back in his chair, making sure not to hit his arm on the floor. Gaz stands there, holding a wad of Gaz stands there, holding a wad of papers. Am I interrupting something? She asks, taking a step back. No. What do you want? I'm spying on Zim. Dib picks himself up and faces his sister. Anyways, it's my turn to choose where we're having family dinner, and we're leaving. She grabs onto his cast and pulls him out of the room. Dib lets out a cry in pain and pulls away from her grasp. But, Dib protests before Gaz puts duct tape on his mouth. He decides to follow her. Chapter 2. Zim paces outside the door of Dib's house, contemplating knocking on his door or his window. Gur had already crawled into Dib's room through the window and was looking down at Zim. He had somehow gotten a hold of a pencil and was chewing on it. Zim sighs and starts to unravel his pack legs. This idea is stupid. Gur, we're leaving. Zim turns to the street when he sees a car pull into the driveway. Zim jumps and crawls into Dib's window to get Gur, who was on top of the shelves playing with a toy. Zim reaches up to grab Gur, but he was too short. Zim crawls onto Dib's dresser and tries again to grab Gur. He grabs a hold of Gur's legs. Just then, Dib's door swings open, and Dib walks inside, only to stop when he sees Zim. Zim? What are you doing in my room? Dib shouts. Zim stares at him and brings Gur to his chest. Hold on, I forgot my speech. Zim sets Gur down and jumps off the dresser. He taps his chin, trying to remember what he was going to say. He remembers and jumps up onto Dib's bed. I've come to be friends, human! Friends? Dib repeats, confused. Then he remembered what he heard on the video camera at Zim's house. Yes, friends. I have failed my tallest. Even though they were never going to come. Zim looks down at the ground sadly. So since I'm stuck here until I die, I came up with a brilliant plan to be friends with you. That's my idea! Gur laughs, earning a "shut up" from Zim. Zim outstretches his hand. Dib reaches for it but stops. Zim is vulnerable. He could easily handcuff him and expose him to the alien, for as the alien he is. He could save Earth. His dad would be proud of him. But Zim is no longer trying to take over the Earth. His dad would say it's a hallucination, like the time and space prison, and Zim now trusts him enough to be friends with him. Dib looks at Zim's hands and takes a hold of it. They shake hands and stare at each other for a moment. Zim pulls his hand back and scratches the back of his neck. So, how do humans show affection? Zim asks. Last time I was friends with anyone, I ripped out their eyes. Dib blinks at him, shaking off the thought of the statement, instead deciding to answer his question. Like this. Dib awkwardly pulls Zim into a hug. This is the closest he's ever been to the alien, aside from pinning him down to fights. But even then, He's only ever really touched Zim's arms and legs. Here, he can feel Zim's heart, or heat equivalent, beat faster the longer they touch. Zim jumps back, his face a very light shade of purple. "That was pretty gay, not gonna lie," Gaz says from the doorway. Zim and Dib jump to turn to face her. She's holding a pizza box and eating a slice from it. "Gaz, how long have you been here?" Dib asks, his face turning red. "Long enough," she huffs. She turns away and walks towards her room. Once they hear Gaz's bedroom door slam, Zim asks, "What's gay?" "It's when, two guys like each other, romantically." Dib lets out a nervous laugh. "And they, hold hands, and kiss." He was too embarrassed to function right now. Zim stands there frozen in place. He then screams and jumps out the window. "My tallest! They have gay! I have to call them!" he yells, running home. Dib watches him run through the street. Gur waves to Zim, then lands on Dib's bed, falling asleep and curling up into a ball. Dib sticks his head back into his room. "I think I broke him," he says, looking at Gur, who had flopped down onto his back. Dib shakes his head and gets ready for bed. Not that he would be sleeping. Dib lays down on his bed, scrolling through articles about alien sightings and big feet. Gur is on the floor next to his bed drawing. He's surprisingly quiet. Usually Gur would shout something or mess something up, but he's just acting like a normal kid. "Hey Gur." Dib turns to the little robot. Gur had taken off the hood to his dog costume. Gur looks up at Dib. "What are you drawing?" Gur squeals excitedly and hands Dib the picture. "I drew you and my master!" He smiles happily. Dib looks at the badly drawn picture of him and Zim, holding hands with hearts around them. Dib was about to say, "We're not friends," but then he remembers. They are friends now. He fakes a smile and hands it back to Gur. "I love it," Dib lies. Gur's face slides up and he jumps onto Dib's bed. He lays down next to Dib and watches the video on Dib's phone. After a bit, Gur falls back asleep. Dib had to admit, he never thought he would be sleeping with his ex-enemy's evil robot slave and think it's cute. Dib expected Gur's metal to be cold or super hot, but it was the perfect snuggling temperature. He tried to resist himself, but he gave up and melted into the warmth like he was a stuffed animal. "I'm gonna steal you," he says, turning off his phone and tossing it on his desk. When Dib woke up the next morning, Gur was still next to him. Gur was playing with the bandages around Dib's broken arm. Dib sits up and rubs his eyes. He puts on his glasses and steps out of bed. Gur jumps onto Dib's head and they both walk downstairs for breakfast. "Good morning, son," Membrane waves. Clembrain sits next to him, mixing a bowl of pudding. "Good morning, Dads," Dib says, sitting down at a table. Foodio 3000 gives Dib some eggs and toast. "Pudding!" Gur shouts, jumping onto the table and hopping over to Clembrain. "Son, when did you get a robot?" Membrane asks, drinking his coffee. "Oh, that's Zim's evil robot. Don't worry, he can't hurt us," Dib says, through a mouth of food. Membrane nods and gets up from the table. "I have to go to work now. Your sister already left. She said she went to your friend's house." "She said she went to a friend's house," Membrane says, walking out of the room. "What? Gas doesn't have any friends," Dib says to himself. He shrugs it off and finishes his breakfast. "Hey Gur, you should probably head home soon. Zim might get worried," Dib says, picking him up and wiping the pudding off his face. "No! I want to spend time with Squirrel!" Gur jumps out of Dib's grasp and presses his body against the window, staring at a squirrel running around. Dib rolls his eyes and walks to his room to get ready for the day. He takes a shower, brushes his teeth, and puts away his clothes for the day. Which were pajamas. Come on, it's Saturday, I'm sorry. When he walks back to his room, he sees Gaz and Zim talking. Why are you both in my room? Took you long enough. Zim agreed to take me to a space arcade, and I guess you can come along. Gaz grumbles. She takes a wad of money from Dib's desks and walks out of the room. My money, Dib says. Zim walks next to him. I hope Gur didn't keep you up all night with his constant yelling, Zim says, picking up Gur, who wandered into the room with a bowl of pudding. Actually, he was pretty calm. He even drew a picture. Dib points at a picture on the ground. So, did you get to call your tallest? Looks at the ground. He picks up the picture and stares at it, trying to ignore the question. Dib decides not to ask any more questions. Gur, quiet. Zim laughs, putting the picture down. We should get going soon. It'll take a while to get there. Okay, let me change into some normal clothes, Dib says, opening his dresser. He grabs the clothes he wants and starts to take off his pajamas. Then he remembers that Zim is still in the room and turns to face him. Zim is staring at Dib's body in awe. He's never seen a plain human body. A little privacy? Dib asks. A small blush appears on his face. Zim blushes and dashes out of the room. Chapter 3. How much longer? My Switch is almost dead, Gaz asks, tossing her controller down. Only an hour, Zim replies. He's playing with one of his pack legs. He puts the ship on autopilot to talk to Dib about space, but Dib wasn't paying attention to him and was too busy looking at all the planets and alien spacecrafts. Oh, Zim, what's that? Dib asks excitedly. It kinda looks familiar. Oh, that? Zim looks at the window to see what Dib was pointing at. He gasps when he realizes it's the Urkin Armada. My tallest! What? Dib looks back at the ship. Now he recognizes it. He remembers back to when Zim teleported the Earth into their flight path. I thought they went into the Forpus. They look damaged. I have to get to them. Zim takes a hold of the wheel and steers towards them. They better have an outlet and an arcade, Zim says as her switch dies. She grumbles and pushes it to Gur, who was turned off for the ride. Zim speeds to them, causing everyone to get pushed back. Zim slows down, and once he gets to the ship, parks and jumps out. He looks around. Urkins are repairing damaged parts of the ship, and the power keeps turning off and on again. Dib! And Dib girl! We have to see if my tallists are okay. Zim drags them out and dashes for the control room. Once they reach the control room, Zim kicks open the door. Red Tallest is the only one there. My tallists! Zim shouts. Red jumps and looks over at Zim. Zim? I thought you were dead. Red stands up and walks over to Zim. Zim looks around. He can't find Purple anywhere in the room. His face turns pale. Where's Almighty Purple Tallists? Zim asks, his voice shaking. Don't worry, he's getting us snacks. Our helper had to go back to Urk for supplies. Red explains. Zim lets out a sigh of relief. Dib pushes past Zim and faces Red. You're Zim's leader? Dib asks, looking at every inch of Red. Zim, who's this large-headed boy? Red asks, backing away from Dib, who was smiling creepily. That's, Dib, my ex-enemy, Zim says, getting off the ground. He walks over to Dib and pushes him away. And that kid? Red points to Gaz. She growls and continues looking for an outlet. That's Dib's sister thing, Gaz, Zim explains. What's happening? Asks Purple. Everyone turns to him. Dib gasps and dashes to Purple. You two are so similar. Why do you only have 2 fingers and no thumb? How did you get so tall? How? Zim starts spewing questions, but Gaz covers his mouth. Shut up. If I have to hear your rambling, I'm gonna throw you into space, Gaz grumbles. She lets go of him and walks off. Zib turns back to the Urkins. Purple gave Red a candy bar. They shared a drink. My tallest, is there anything I can do to help you? Zim asks. Well, if you found a planet full of snacks, that would be nice, Purple said through a mouthful of donuts. Earth is full of snacks. We have so many different kinds, Dib cuts in. Really? Zim told us it sucks there, Red replies, taking a bite of chocolate. Aside from the rain, it's okay, Zim shrugs. Red and Purple look at each other, then walk off to discuss something. After a few minutes of talking, they come back. Red looks annoyed, but Purple seems a little excited. Okay, we'll go to Earth. But don't expect us to spend any time with you, Zim. Purple just wants snacks, Red says. Great, let's go. Zim skips out of the room. Zim, we're still going to the arcade, Gaz yells, chasing after him. Dib turns to the tallest and pulls out a notebook from who knows where. The drive back is kinda long. This is the perfect time to ask you some questions, Dib says, following them to the spacecraft. So, do Urkins reproduce? Dib says. Not really, Purple replies. He takes a bite of Red's donut and smirks. Red lets out a small, hey, then continues eating. Another question. Why do you guys hate Zim so much? Dib looks at them. The tallists look at each other. They both try to answer, but they can't find the words that they're looking for. Can we skip this one? Red asks. Fine. If it makes you more comfortable. But no more. You already used 5. Dib writes something down in his notebook. The next one is a little embarrassing to ask. Do you guys... never mind. Dib sets down his notebook and rubs his eyes. He was really embarrassed to ask about the reproductive system, even though he knows they don't have to do it. You've asked us too many questions. Now it's our turn. Red sits up and faces Dib. Why is your head so big? Red asks, which causes Purple to burst out laughing. My head isn't that big, Dib yells, his face turning red. Both of the tallists start laughing. Purple tallest picks up Dib's notebook and blushes a deep purple. Wow, glad we skipped that one. Purple covers his face and hands Red the notebook. Red reads it and tosses it back to Dib. Okay. Dib looks at the floor. He could ask Zim. Well, that's a little awkward. Another question. What kind of snacks do you have? Purple asks. Oh, too many. Let me start with the chips. Dib starts. And that's where I'm going to leave the video here. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know if you think my editing is okay or if I need to be more picky, like sophisticated about what I put into the world. But if you liked it, please let me know in the comments below. Yeah. Thank you so much for watching my video. I really hope that you drink water today, take a minute to yourself, and love yourself because I love you. I don't care. I do love you. I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.